Right, so today I got to talk more about a Thomas Sowell quote, and he says, "Ask 10 people what fairness means, and you get 11 different definitions." And it's a very good point for many reasons because, I mean, for starters, the main problem is many of our laws today are based on what's fair and what's just and what's equitable and this, that, and the other. And again, the problem is that so many people they have different definitions of words, and that's the problem now. And another problem too is that a lot of people have the complete opposite, backwards, out of this world definition of certain words. I mean, you hear what's people's definition. I mean, give you some examples. What's people's definitions of racist nowadays? Well, it's when they hear racism, oh, it's whites against blacks. And most of these people think, oh, can people be racist against whites? Nope, not possible. And that's literally not even close to the definition of racism. The definition of racism doesn't have, it doesn't specify any races within the definition, but you have a lot of people nowadays that believe that that's the case. What is equality? You have a lot of people nowadays that believe that, equality means equality of outcome, which is the same thing to say, like, oh, well, which is again why a lot of these people believe in the whole diversity hiring garbage. That, oh, well, if there's differentiation between groups or genders or whatever, then that must mean sexism or racism. But no, but the reality is that different races and the different sexes, there's differences in competency, there's differences in IQ, there's so many differences that the largely the crazy leftists don't account for, that usually completely makes up for the whole racism garbage or sexism garbage. That again, you take women and men. Well, the biggest myth and conspiracy theory, that one of the biggest myths and conspiracy theories that exists out there today, is the gender pay gap, and there's still tons of people that believe in it, even though there is no evidence to ever back it up in the first place. Now, what is the gender pay gap? Well, it's just a average earning of the average man and the average woman. Well, people say, oh, that's proof of sexism, but yet they don't adjust for the individual. They don't adjust for hours worked. They don't adjust for IQ. They don't adjust for, like I say, levels of education. They don't adjust for intelligence. They don't adjust for any of that. And when you adjust for that, what happens is you find women actually earn more because of diversity hiring. Women actually earn slightly more. Again, if you look at unmarried men and unmarried women, women earn more, and it's not because women are any more competent. It's because, again, of diversity hiring, that you have women are a lot more likely to be in, to have positions and to get promoted simply based off their sex, not because they're better at their job, but because of their sex. Again, that's one of the many examples of that's fair. No, the reality isn't that isn't fair. What is fair is best person for the job. But why people hate that so much, and why, again, all these people that talk about, oh, we're anti-racist and we're pro-civil rights and all this garbage. Well, no, you don't even agree with the most famous civil rights activist that ever existed in MLK, because MLK believed judge people based off the content of their character, not the color of their skin, or in the other argument, not based off their gender or their sex. But if you're on the left, the vast majority of people believe judging people based off the color of their skin or based off their sex is a good thing. And that's where we're at nowadays too. And again, you see that in California too, that I don't know if they're going through with it or not, but they want to repeal the Civil Rights Act there because they want to hire people based off the color of their skin. Again, so we have completely gone full circle as a society, and the problem is so many people are completely oblivious, and a lot of the people that are aware of it are too afraid to speak up because they're babies, and that's what the nicest way possible you can put it. Um, and again, this never ends well. This ends with the exact thing that happened in the past. So again, if people don't push back on this, then things are going to end very bad. And this is the crazy thing too nowadays is that the people that support best person for the job are considered the crazy ones oftentimes these days. I mean, I'm back in the job market recently, and tons of jobs say, we're hiring a native person only, or a black person only, or a women only, or has to be a minority. And I mean, a lot of jobs ask you if you're a minority or a woman or a disabled or this, that, or the other. And that's not fair. That is not fair. But you're completely screwed because there's nothing you can do. If you're a white man, you're completely screwed. You are the equivalent to um, a black person, 50 to 100 years ago. You're the equivalent to a woman 100 years ago. That you are discriminated based off the fact that you are not black or not a woman. And there's no debate on that. I don't care what anybody says. There's literally several employers that are flat out honest about it. Now, a lot of times it isn't their fault. There's government subsidies, and they're afraid of being sued if they don't have X number of this, that, and the other thing. So they kind of have to do that kind of stuff, and that's the problem, is that it should be best person for the job. Now, again, a lot of people are probably thinking, well, don't people support best person for the job? Well, no, they don't support best person for the job by definition. And why do people not support best person for the job? Again, this is something I've talked about tons before, but it's very simple in that if we had an actual best person for the job situation, guess what? There's going to be disparities between men and women, not because of sexism, but because of competency, because men are willing to work more. Men are generally willing to work, put more time and effort into their work. Again, obviously on average. Not only that, too, men aren't the ones that have kids. Men aren't the ones that have kids. Again, so there, and not only that, too, when it comes to the whole CEO stuff and whatnot, men are more likely to have exceedingly high levels of intelligence. Now, on the flip side, men are also more likely to have exceedingly low levels of intelligence. Women tend to be a lot more average. Again, so the gap is just a lot wider between men. And the curve isn't quite as pronounced. Again, women, the curve is a lot more pronounced. And again, that's why you see more male CEOs, you see more male billionaires, is because they're more likely to have the very high levels of intelligence. And it's the same thing with whites and blacks. If we had, like I say, best person for the job, people would be claiming, oh, there's underrepresentation amongst blacks. Again, not because of racism, but because blacks are just less intelligent on average. Again, it's so insane too that I literally mentioned that like probably hundreds of times in my times making videos, but there's still people who say, "Oh, you think all blacks are less intelligent? You think all women are less, should earn more and all this garbage?" But no, I'm simply talking about averages. And this is the fact too, just how dumbed down the average person out there is they don't understand that topic. This kind of stuff could be explained to 6-year-olds and they could understand it perfectly, but yet we have fully grown adults that can't understand it. That is just how terrible our education system is out there, that we have simple concepts that fully grown adults don't even understand. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today. If you liked the video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my PayPal and email. I got linked in the description. Again, I appreciate any donations, but at the very least, just hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. And last few things, check me out on PayPal, or not PayPal, Parlay, Twitter, and BitChute. All those links are in the description, so you can find them all there.